Hello and welcome to the project. The purpose of this video is to provide a quick orientation to the classification of informality versus other land use types in an urban setting. The project has got three broad classifications, the first being the distinction between informal and formal businesses. The picture on the left hand side shows an informal business area, whereas the picture on the right shows a section of a formalized industrial area. Starting on the informal businesses, these areas would largely have an irregular pattern of buildings or structures. The buildings are largely small, temporary, and do not take any particular form or shape. There is also an absence of, or in other words, there could be an irregular road or path network. You may also find different roof colors and types depending on the particular area in question. Moving on to the formal business area, there is usually regular, distinct pattern of roads, as can be seen here. The roads are usually tarred or paved. These are actually very large buildings and other industrial infrastructure and equipment, for example here. These are actually formalized, established businesses that could actually have been operating for a long time, as compared to the picture on the left here. If this was the central business district, we would expect to see numerous tall buildings and also a large number of vehicles on almost all the roads in the neighborhood of the central business district. Moving on, the next area of interest is the classification between cooperative housing and low-income formal housing. The cooperative housing area on the left here is also referred in this project as informal housing because the inhabitants in this area have not yet been given the go-ahead to build like proper houses because they've not yet been able to provide or to put in place the necessary amenities such as piped water, piped sewage, electricity, etc. So in as far as this project is concerned, these cooperative housing areas are actually referred to as informal housing. In terms of the roads, in the informal housing or cooperative housing area, they are made of dirt or gravel. In other words, they are usually unpaved, and they may or may not have a regular pattern. The majority of the houses here are small rectangular houses, which you can see here, located right on the edge of the individual plot or land. Because what's happening is here, as I've said, these people have not yet been given the go-ahead to build proper houses that occupy the entire stand or the entire individual plot. They can only in the meantime build these temporary shelters because they've not yet conformed to the requirements of council by putting in place all the required amenities. So that's why these areas are referred in this project as informal housing. As we've already discussed, on every stand or plot, the bulk of the land is not built up. It's this on this particular stand, for example, this temporary shelter only takes just a tiny portion of the entire plot of the land. Moving on to the low-income formal housing area, there is a regular or distinct pattern of roads, as we can see here. The roads are usually tarred or paved, as we can also see here. The houses are largely similar here and homogeneous. It's a similar housing type, usually rectangular shaped townhouses, because there isn't a lot of space. Each individual house fills actually most of the available land on the individual plot or stand. This is a high density settlement where houses are arranged in close proximity to each other, as we can see here. The third kind of classification we are interested in is that between high income formal housing and low income formal housing. We have already discussed about low income formal housing on the right here. On the left is high income formal housing. Both of these areas are formal, but this one is low density or high income, whereas this one is low income high density. Okay. The first difference, starting on the high income formal housing, is that there's a regular distinct pattern of roads. This is actually a similarity between these two areas. This is the same. The roads are tarred or paved. It is the same across the two. However, in terms of the size of the stands or the size of the land, the plots are usually larger and they've got more diverse housing type, not just rectangular. You find a lot of diversity in terms of the shape of the houses and even size as well, whereas here you only find largely similar houses. These are low density areas, or they are sparse. There is a sparse distribution of houses, not as compared to this where the houses are tightly, pegged close to each other. There's generally lots of trees, as we can see, lots of vegetation here. There's a lot of shade. Sometimes swimming pools. We can identify a swimming pool here, and there as well. Whereas you can't see lots of swimming pools within these low-income formal housing residential areas. So these are the major differences between these two. So this video doesn't aim to cover everything, but it's just to give you an orientation of what to expect in the classification process. Thanks for watching.